guys, I'm Tamara. If you are new here, my channel primarily consists of beauty, a little bit of fashion, a little bit of lifestyle. So today I am bringing you my current makeup routine. So these are like my go-tos, the things that I pick to create a flawless base, which I do not have right now. So if you're interested to see how all of that comes together, keep watching. All right, so we're actually gonna start with skincare. This is what I put on before I actually put on my makeup. I've had so many people ask me about what I put on my skin. I'm just kidding, no one's really asked me. Like, I've had one person ask me. So I usually start with vitamin C. I use Bliss. I've tried the Ola Henderson, I've tried Sunday Riley. I don't feel like there's a huge difference between all of these from what I've noticed from my skin. I really like the vitamin C because I've noticed that it helps like brighten up some of the dark spots that I have. Overall, I feel like my skin looks more radiant with the vitamin C. I think it can help with like hyperpigmentation and such as well. But yeah, I personally really like this one. I say if you don't have to pay astronomical prices for something, don't. So next I go in with, I think it's called the Retinol Correction Line Smoothing Eye Cream. I have a lot of like dryness under my eyes right now, so, and lines, so I decided to try this one because I saw it was suggested, and I just dab that out onto the eye. Not saying that anybody needs to do all of the things that I do, but I just found that this is what works for me. And also, like, one of the big things that I found myself getting into during this quarantine period is just like skincare and just finding different products that work for my skin. I've also been fairly blessed with like skin that I don't have a ton of issues with, so like some of the stuff that works for my skin might not work for other people's skin. I also go in with a face cream. This is the Happy Hydration Cream from E.L.F. I think this is from like the Cannabis Sativia collection. All over my face here, rub it all in. Face cream wise, I've tried the other E.L.F one and I feel like I didn't really notice a difference between the two of them, but the other one is scented, so that's the only reason that I stopped using it and started using this one instead. Last step, sunscreen. I feel like a lot of people probably think that people of our complexion do not need to use sunscreen, but that is not correct. I really started using sunscreen daily when we were all just like locked in the house. I was just figuring out a good skincare routine for me. I feel like they say that this helps with hyperpigmentation as well. I feel like I noticed that the difference between my chest and my face, I mean, maybe it's because I'm not getting as much sun either, but I feel like once I started using sunscreen on a regular basis, it helped even it out. But that's just my take, not like a licensed professional, not even close to like an esthetician or anything, but those are things that just work for me. So we can get into the makeup now. We're starting with my Too Faced Hangover Primer. I know that I said in a previous video that I'm starting to see a lot of like people that do beauty stuff talk about how you don't need a primer if you just do like really good moisturizing skincare in the beginning. I don't have an opinion on that because I still like my primer. I feel like it helps my makeup stick a little bit better. We're gonna get into foundation. I have found that nowadays I tend to reach for my Lancome Teint Idole like all the time now, so I feel like this is like my go-to. I feel like why I really like this foundation is it essentially doesn't really look like you have makeup on, I feel at least. Like, I feel like it's definitely one of those like your skin but better type of foundations. When you look at the box though, it says that it is full coverage, which I guess it is, but I don't feel like it shows up on my skin like it is full coverage. So I'm going to go in with one more pump here all over the face. I definitely found that during our time here at home, this is what I spent majority of my time doing, is just like perfecting my base and getting that like soft glam. It looks like you have makeup but not really have makeup on, because I'm just not a huge fan of full coverage. Like, I don't think it looks bad. I think there's like certain occasions where it works. I definitely feel like soft glam is like the way to go. So before we move on to the other areas of the face, of course I forgot to do my brows first, because would it be a video if I didn't forget to do my brows first? So what I go in with is this Makeup Revolution brow gel, because my eyebrows are thicker. It just helps with keeping them in place for me, because I find that when I don't do this step first, my eyebrows literally look like furrowed and crazy. And this is clear, so it's not giving you like any type of coverage. Going in next with my nifty difty Colourpop pencil in Bangin Brunette. You've seen this in many videos, and I'm just going to outline. So my brows look super intense right now. We're just gonna pull it together. Luckily for me, even though I made the mistake of doing my foundation first, because I usually do my brows first, my concealer is basically the same shade as my foundation, so it's just gonna be super easy to blend out. So I'm gonna go in and clean up my brows with that. Next, we're gonna go into the under eyes. So concealer, like I said, I struggle with dark circles under the eye. That's also why I use an under eye cream, because it helps with reducing the dark circles just a little bit. Pro tip with your makeup sponge: before you apply any type of face anything, wet it. It just makes it so much easier to apply everything. And that is blended out there. So now we are going in with my favorite concealer. This is the Born This Way multi-use sculpting concealer. You've seen me use this probably like a billion times. This shade is in the color Maple. So this first layer that I'm going in with is purely for coverage, and then the next layer that I go in with is going to be more so for like that highlighting effect. Put it in all the areas that I would like highlighted, and then this is just closer to my skin shade. And with that same sponge, making sure it's wet and just blending it all out. So the last time you saw me, I was in Vegas, and it was a good, fun, short little trip. More kind of spontaneous because our Tulum trip went awry. But overall, I feel like, I think I said it a couple of times throughout the video, I felt like pretty safe. Like I didn't feel like there was too many situations where I was like, this is like a little too compromising. I think I mentioned in the video as well, like basically everything, if you want to go to like a club or if you want to go like a pool party, it's reservation only. And I'm not sure about the pool party. I don't think there's general admission. There wasn't a lot of people like anywhere that we went, so I wasn't really sure. But nightclubs for sure, like there's no general admission. Like there's only reservations at tables, and then in between each table there's like a plexiglass, which is nice. So overall, I felt like vacationing there wasn't too bad. It was pretty empty, as to be expected. I'm going in once again with the multi-use concealer. This time I'm going in with the color Sand, so this is a little bit lighter. So this is to brighten up the under eye more, and then I'm going to put it on my nose as well, just to brighten that up a little bit as well. So I just put a little bit under each eye. Don't put a ton, because obviously I already put some for coverage of the under eye, and then I bring that there like so, and then I'm just gonna blend it out with that same sponge. There was like some intermingling when like drinks started flowing. You know how that goes, like people just start to like talk to other people. We stayed in our section the entire time. People kept coming to us, and like it was like the times, like is it necessary for you to continue to come to our area? I notice when I go out with my group of friends, there's always like people that want to like try and like force you to have fun. Like if you're just like sitting, chilling, like vibing when you're sitting down, I think people perceive that as like you not having fun, and then they'll like come over and bother you, and they'll be like, come on, like dance, like have fun, like, but like who asked you? Like why is that necessary? It can be women, it can be men that just are just thinking that we're not having a good time, and we need to be like up and dancing and like pop locking and dropping it to have a good time. But I mean, we're having fun. You just don't think we're having fun because Lord knows why. Does that happen to you guys when you go out? I'm curious. Comment down below because I'm very curious. Next up, I'm going in with some setting powder, putting it under my under eye. This is the Laura Mercier. This is the Laura setting powder, and I have it in the color Translucent Honey. I just like pour it into the cap so I can just like not have to dab into the main thing and kind of like control how much I'm using. I used to use the Beauty Bakery. That used to be like my go-to, but like I've said, I feel like my under eyes are just so dry. I don't know if it's like the weather or what it is. Like even now you can probably see that this powder is just clinging a little bit because of the dryness of my under eye. But I found that the Beauty Bakery is just drying me out a little too much, so I decided to try the Laura. Everybody talks about it, everybody says it's a holy grail, so I was like, you know what? Let me just try that. First time I tried it, I was like literally in awe. I was like, this looks like seamless and flawless, and like this is it. So if you're looking for a setting powder, I would say like Laura's that girl for you. Definitely get the Laura. So as far as how I put in my setting powder, the rest of my face, I blend it into the skin, so it's not really baking. It's more so just like setting the eye, and just to make the face look a little more like sharp, like jawline sharp and everything. I do some reverse contour and just bring it up like so. So as you can see, it just like sharpens everything up immediately. And then same thing on the other side. Next step, I'm gonna contour my face. This is the L'Oreal Infallible Longwear Shaping Stick. This is in the color Espresso, which is like honestly a little too dark, but I can't find, I usually use my LA Girl, but I can't find it. So I'm just gonna use this, and I'm going super light with this because this is so dark. Ooh. And then I go a little bit under here. It's basically just to like chisel everything out, so everything just looks like very like snatched. But really you can use like any like darker concealer to do the contouring part of this. I just go like super light so it doesn't look like under blended, but it still gives me that like shadow dimension. Overall, I feel like Vegas was a good time. They're pretty strict, or at least the places that I went, like the places where you had to like pay to go. I feel like they were pretty strict about like making sure you had your mask on. Like at the pool, we went to that pool party at Aria. If you didn't have a drink in your hand, or there was one more rule. I think it was if you didn't have a drink in your hand, or if you were in the pool, I think is what it was, then like you had to have your mask on, or just like stay in your own little area. As soon as you like, if you came out, like someone was immediately ready to be like, you need to put your mask on. If you're going to the bathroom without it, the security guards are like, excuse me, you need to put your mask on. I'm sure there's other places that aren't as strict, but I actually appreciated the strictness because it kept like you feeling like you were safe, even though like, I guess some people would say not to travel during a pandemic, which I completely get as well. I think that's pretty blended out. I've been blending it for a minute. I feel like this contour is a little more like intense than I would usually have, only because like the shade is a little bit darker, but this is how it looks so far. And next we're gonna go in with my favorite step, which is bronzer. So I use the Revolution Glow Splendor Ultra Matte Bronzer in the shade Medium. This came out not that long ago. The pigment on this is like pretty intense, so like you want to go in like super light. Otherwise, it's probably going to end up looking a little bit muddy when you come into better light. You'll be like, oh, I'm just going in lightly. This is essentially just bringing warmth back into the face, which I said in my last video as well. But I definitely feel like traveling is like one of those things that like people look forward to kind of like break up like working, because when you're working, you're just working and everything is just like almost like monotonous. So it was nice to actually be able to like just go do something, go relax, go have a good time, go be a little bit crazy, all that jazz. I feel like bronzer is another one of those things that you probably don't have to go like super expensive with. Like this pan is like huge, so like you can get something like this. I think it's maybe like $12. It's gonna last you for like a very long time, and it smells really good and it looks really good, and the pigment is just perfect for me, at least. My next step is I go in with my MAC Mineralized Skin Finish. This is in the color Dark, and I essentially put it in the areas where like I didn't put bronzer. I set my under eye a little bit more. It helps just like set the face, gives you a much better finish. I really like how it brings everything together. So that is set all over the face there. As you can see, it just like illuminizes just like a little bit more. So next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go in and just dust off any excess powder that I have on my face. I'm not a huge blush person, so that's why I don't have that step. I don't know why. I've tried it a couple times and it just doesn't resonate with me, but maybe if I find something that I really like, it will help me be into it. I don't know. Does anybody have any good blush suggestions, blush that they really like that I should try, and maybe that will make me more interested in it? Now that all that powder is brushed away, I'm gonna go in with my highlighter once again and just re-up on it. Tap that in there and then into the under eye. I know some people like to put it on the bridge of their nose. Sometimes I'll do that, like maybe right at the tip, but I just like putting it right above the cheeks. I used to use a fan brush, but I find that I like a taper brush a lot more because it's just easier to control. So my final step is the Nifty All-Nighter Setting Spray. I like a matte look, so basically everything that I used is matte. I'm not a huge fan of the dewy look. Like, I don't mind it, but it's just not for me. And I feel like this helps with keeping that matte look that I like, and then it also just helps with like making sure everything doesn't look super powdery through the face. So just shake that up there and then just spray it all over the face. And like I said, I douse, just so you don't get that like powdery effect. All right, guys, so this is the final look. So I just popped on some lashes. These are my Lily lashes, and then I put on some Fenty lip gloss, as well as put some brown into my crease to just deepen up my eyelids a little bit. This is my go-to routine when I want to throw on a full face of makeup. I've been using these products pretty diligently for like the last couple of months. All of the products I feel like work really well together. And then per usual, if you just pop on a lash, pop on some gloss, put some dimension in the eyelids, it just pulls everything together. Let me know what you thought about everything down below. Let me know if you're going to be picking up any of these products that I mentioned. Let me know if you're using any of the same products that I'm using. I wonder some skincare things that you guys do as well. Like, do you guys have an eye cream that I can use that's going to help with like this dryness that's developing underneath my eyes? That's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share the video. Share the wealth. Let everybody else in on these tips as well. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.